That's my wife, Mrs. Grove.
Oh, she's so pretty.
Well, thank you, miss.
But she has red nails and a red mouth. Is she bad?
Certainly not.
My mother says that women who want to improve on God's work are wicked and damned.
I can assure you that my wife is neither wicked nor damned.
Well, I've always said that movies themselves have a sense of magic, of alchemy to them. I've always said it's Rumpelstiltskin spinning straw into gold, because you have all these disparate people with different talents. I mean, you've got camera people, electrical people, you have actors, you have writers, directors, even the people that are serving food on the set have to have somewhat of an artistic talent to make great food. And all of those things are expected to just work. Yeah. But there's an element of, I don't know, call it some kind of a universal, we're tapping into a universal consciousness or whatever, because when you put it all together, it's like, you know, a sculptor says, well, you know, the sculpture was always there in that rock. I just had to get it out, you know. And so there is that. I've always said that, especially about this film. It's very iterative, the process of, and we've changed it and made it better.
It was like that, you know, when we filmed it. It was a very particularly special synergy that happened. It was pure magic. It really was, and amazing that we got to have the experience of shooting it from beginning to end, like you would experience a play.
Right. Yes.
We shot it. The first scene was the opening of the story.
I can't imagine filming this out of sequence just because of what you have to go through.
But it was also quite vulnerable because I hadn't really had much time to get to know Damon, who played Fricky, or anyone else. It all happened very quickly, and then all of a sudden here I was in this desolate little farmhouse, and the first scene is a pretty, you know, risque scene. And so I said, well, let's just dive in. Let's just go for it.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Gabe kept saying, well, you know, maybe we should cut that opening scene, and I was like, are you what? I said, no, that whole opening scene is, first of all, it takes you, the whole audience is, they're like, wait, what is happening here? Plus your performance is, I'm going to say this to you, so you have to respond again, but is fearless. Like you have no shame. You're completely in the moment, the character, and the audience is going to be like, what is going on? And I'm like, you can't take that scene. He's like, well, I don't know. In this day and age, I mean, because we went through the whole like Me Too era talking about this, and I'm like, this is what it is. You can't change it. You can't go back and remove scenes that Reza DeWitt wrote. You know, you can't change her meaning.
Yeah, it's raw. It's raw. It's exposing. It's deep. It's a deep story. It's a beautiful story, actually.
Well, let's hang on a second. Let's start this because I want you to say this. So I'm just going to give an introduction here. Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, Robert Meyer Burnett, and I am here. Listen, you've heard me talk about the movie. You've heard me play this trailer. I've been discussing the film White Devils, based on Reza DeWitt's Deep Grond, for how long? For like a year, 2 years, 5 years. Well, it's finally coming out. We have our theatrical premiere at Gardena Cinema this coming Tuesday, the 28th of October at 8 o'clock. You can still get tickets now, but I have something very special for you today. One of the great shining lights, the beacon in this film, is a central performance from our lead actress, Chela Pharaoh. And she is coming to me from France because, as you see, she belongs there, one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Well, let me introduce to you the star of White Devils, Chela Pharaoh. Chela, thank you for coming all the way from France to do this interview.
Oh, Robert, it's so wonderful to be with you. Thank you for that really warm and enthusiastic introduction.
Oh, I'm always enthusiastic, as people who watch my show will tell you. Listen, I didn't know of you until I started working on this project, but I was immediately taken. The performance that you deliver in this film is absolutely fearless, and Oscar caliber from where I'm coming from. But I have to ask you, first of all, if you could give us a little bit of your background, like where did you come from? How did you find yourself working on this film?
Yes. So it's interesting that you said you didn't know of me. And I wanted to actually interject and say, I don't think I knew of parts of myself until I actually got this role, because it was a really transforming experience, and one that I will never forget. So I grew up in South Africa. I actually grew up in South Africa during the apartheid era in the 80s. I grew up in Johannesburg, and I was fortunate to go to a school at that time that was integrated racially, because this was during a time when everything was racially segregated. Education was segregated. Apartheid is the Afrikaans word for apartness. So I was fortunate to go to a private school where we were taken to watch political theater, and I had an amazing English and history and drama teacher, and she would take us off to the Market Theatre, which was a beacon of protest drama at that time, political theater. And I remember going to see an amazing, very moving play by Athol Fugard called My Children, My Africa. And I probably was about 12, and I cried so deeply when I watched that play, and I felt this feeling of, oh, I have to be on that stage. I have to have that. I want to be part of this magic, So that's where it started for me, was really at school, and doing drama at school. And it was that teacher that said to me, I think you might consider pursuing this.
Oh, well, I'm glad that she did, because the performance that you give in White Devils is self-evident of that. Did you know Reza DeWitt's work when you were growing up in South Africa?
I didn't. I didn't know her work, but she was very prolific playwright, and she wrote a lot in Afrikaans, both Afrikaans and English, but I think perhaps I didn't know of her work because Afrikaans was not my first language.
Mm.
And I also think we probably wouldn't have looked at such plays at school because they were quite dark and bloody. I don't think it would have been something we would have looked at that time in my school, during my education there.
Sure. Do you speak Dutch, English, French, Afrikaans?
So Afrikaans comes from Dutch. My lineage is French Huguenot. But the French language got extinguished, and it's really Afrikaans that is left, and English, and many of the African languages. So at that time, it was compulsory to learn Afrikaans at school.
Sure.
So I do speak a bit. So the original title of the play is Diepe Grond.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it.
Diepe Grond, which means deep ground.
Right. I forgive me, my pronunciation was not good. Well, I obviously, everyone who watches this channel knows that I met Gabe Bologna kind of in a strange, random way as things in Hollywood happen. And suddenly we came together, and I worked with him for 5 years putting Tango Shalom together. And he became one of my best friends. I love Gabe. And he had made this movie, which predated by quite some time my involvement. Yeah. When you started working with Gabe, how did you find yourself getting involved in White Devils, our new title, to make it more, and it strikes me. I mean, you have Massimo Zeri, who is the cinematographer, who has worked with an incredible amount of people, some of the great legends in the world, actually, especially in Italian cinema. How did you find your way onto this project?
So it was really a timing thing. I happened to call my manager. I was living in New York. And she said, you know, I actually submitted you for a South African project. They wanted an authentic South African accent. I haven't heard from them. Let me find out what's happening. She put down the phone. She called them. They said, no, we're still looking for this character. We haven't found her yet. And I'd been overlooked because I don't think she'd specified. Yeah, she actually is South African. So I literally went in the very next day. I got the script that night. And it was one of those experiences of reading a script where I just felt instantly transported. I just felt it instantly in my body, instantly in my cells. I just felt it. It was an instinct that I had with the story and the character. And I was really excited about the audition. So I went the next day and I went in, and it was just one of those beautiful flowing auditions, which are not always the case, you know? So I went in, auditioned. I actually left the audition and I called my mother in South Africa and I cried on the phone and I said, Mommy, if I don't get this role, then I don't know what I'm going to do. This is meant for me. I got in a cab and I went downtown and I thought I'll take myself out for lunch, which I did. I ordered my burger. Within a few minutes, my manager called me again and said, you need to go straight back to the casting director's office and you need to prepare these other scenes, but you need to walk in wearing a dirty farm dress. So I said, well, I mean, I've got 45 minutes. What am I going to do about a dirty farm dress? So I said, I put down the phone, paid my bill. I ran to an H&M in Soho, grabbed a dress, got in a cab, worked on the scenes in the cab, got to the office, and then I saw a pot plant in the corner of the room and I grabbed a handful of the dirt, ran into the bathroom, made mud out of it, rubbed my face with it, my hair, ripped the dress, rubbed it with mud, took my shoes off, and then walked in there looking dirty and disheveled. And they were all completely deadpan and silent. And I thought, oh shit, I think maybe I've taken this a bit far. I probably look completely mad. And then it was another amazing, just feeling transported sort of experiences. And then I got it. And that was that. That's how it happened.
It's interesting because I don't see anybody on planet Earth in that role except you. Like, you know, sometimes you see people in roles and you can imagine, I wonder if so-and-so was in this role. Would it? No. This role is a defining role. I mean, people are going to look at this movie years later and marvel at your performance. So they made a good choice. Now, when did you meet Damon? I mean, obviously, this is Damon, your co-star, the writer of this, the producer of this. How did you meet him? And tell us about the relationship because this film would not work without the central relationship of you and him. And it's, you know, it's a low budget, it's a micro budget film, yet the performances are staggeringly huge. They're incredible performances, and the intimacy that you have, and you really believe that you grew up together. That I don't want to ruin anything, but you really, I can't imagine. And how did you meet? How did you start working together? What was that like?
So actually, the first time I met him was in the callback. So he was in the room to see me in the callback. That was the first time I met him. And then the second time I saw him was, I think it was at Gabe's house when we did a read-through. And that was the second time. And then literally the third time was the first day of being on set when we filmed the first scene of the film. It was just like that. We didn't really have much time to get to know each other, but it was just meant to be, in that we were so lucky that we had this natural synergy. It was just as if we'd known each other for years. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the performances, if they didn't work, because you guys are on camera most of the movie, and it's sort of a tour de force. You know, you were asked, there's a lot you have to go through. There's a lot of emotional states, and you're jumping in and out of your characters are sort of play acting your youth.
Yes.
There's a lot you're asked to do in the course of this script. when you were shooting, was it an easy place for you to go as an actress? Or did you ever find it difficult to get into the mindset of these characters, especially on a low budget movie? You're being asked to just conjure up incredible magic. We talked before we started shooting about alchemy, but it's almost like you're channeling some kind of a universal force through you to create this character. And I don't think people understand how difficult it is to do that, especially when you're fighting, you don't have enough time in the day and you're dealing with the technical issues of filmmaking, but you were asked to do a lot. What was that like for you on set every day? And was it difficult? Did you, when you left the set, did you have to go home and have to work on things? What was your process like?
You know, it wasn't difficult. It was challenging at times, but it wasn't difficult because as artists, there is that transcendent space that if you can drop down into that space of magic, then, and you can let go of yourself, then it's not difficult. You're not actually doing it. You're being breathed, you're being acted, and you're just open to that stream of consciousness. And I mean, I don't know what it says about my psyche, but it was an easy role for me to play because I just got her. I felt as if she was a part of me. So I just, as I said, the moment I read the script, I knew her. And also because we shot it from beginning to end, like you would experience a play, it was very satisfying. Got to live the story moment by moment. And then we were living on this farm. And I remained in the world. I lived in this tiny little room. It was really cold at night. I think I slept with the dirt on my face and on my skin. And then we had, everyone involved in this film was just so wonderful, so sensitive. Our set was just such a beautiful, sacred space to be in. So I felt very held, and we all kind of just landed ourselves in the story.
Right.
And I think the challenge, I remember one of the challenges I had was there was a voice that I needed to find. Not to give too much away, but there are aspects of myself in the story that I'm role playing. It's like reliving rituals of the past or characters of my story. And so each of them has a different note or texture or quality or voice. And so there was one voice in particular that I wasn't quite sure that I'd found. And Gabe and I were in a back and forth about it. And when I watch the film now, I'm still not certain that that was exactly it, but it must have been because it's what was discovered in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the things I've loved about working with Gabe is he was a former actor himself. Performance is one of the things that's most that's the thing he concentrates on the most. And when I was working with him, I was editing Tango Shalom, and we would go through, I mean, we went through every aspect of every performance and every moment, and everything you see on camera is Gabe Bologna approved, so to speak. So he won't let something go that he's not sure of. No. What was it like working with him? I mean, you know, this isn't you're jumping into some really difficult material, and from an acting perspective, there's a lot of things that are raw, but like you said, you have to find other voices. You're channeling different aspects of your character through times of that character's life. You know, you're evoking the past and trauma and things like that. Not an easy, I mean, for a little tiny movie, it's not an easy thing to do. What was your relationship with Gabe like, and how was it working with him? Now, remember, only say good things because he'll see this.
No, I can only say good things. Honestly, he was a dream to work with. He was so spacious and trusting of me and patient and open to discovering something unexpected in the moment. He was so open and so, I felt so safe with him, which was important because it's exposing this role, and it's you're delving into dark parts of the human psyche, and we didn't have a lot of time. You know, we it was actually quite a feat that we managed to finish this film in the time that we had to film it. But he was extraordinary. He really was. He was just, he's remained to be someone very dear to me.
No, and I mean, this was a fight to get this movie out, and he had to surmount some hurdles to get here.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm really proud to have been involved with it in a small way and to help get it into the world. But I think that what's really interesting about a movie like this is it's by sheer willpower. I mean, you have this wonderful writer. Damon had the foresight to get the script and adapt it and put the team together and get Gabe and Massimo, and Gabe and Massimo work really well together. What's it like for you to see, to see this come together, and now it's finally the world can see it? After a long period of time, obviously you're not the same person you were when you made the movie. And what's it like for you to see something like this finally reach fruition and find an audience?
I'm thrilled. I'm so excited. I would say that actually filming this was one of the highlights of my life. It really was. It was a perfect creative journey. There wasn't anything missing. It was satisfying completely. So the idea of it having evolved since the last time I saw the last version of the film is very, very exciting. It's always exciting to know that you're bringing an audience in and we get to experience it collectively. And I'm so curious to know what people are going to feel about it, because there's a timelessness to this story. Even though it was set during the 80s in apartheid South Africa, it has a sort of mythical or like a dark fairy tale quality to it.
Yes.
And I think it's quite relevant to our times, actually. The descent into darkness, and that in the darkest hour, we don't know what's going to happen. It feels that way in the world. We don't know what's going to happen, and it's pretty dark, but we know that there are seeds of beauty and renewal in it all. We just have faith that is so. And when you see the film, you'll see what I'm saying when I say that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I guess when you're making a movie and you have to, it's starting and stopping. It's not like a play when you're on stage for 2 hours and you don't get to, the difference in acting in a movie like this, you have to create incredible emotion really at the drop of a hat. It's like, and action. And then suddenly, did you find that for this particular movie difficult? The fact that you're creating a performance through fractured moments when you're not like on stage where you can be in this character for 2 hours at a time, because you have to do a lot of stuff where you got to dig deep to create this character. And that was one of the things that struck me watching all this footage. Both you and Damon were really able to get into these characters that weren't easy to play. Did you find the process of making the movie, literally on set, shot to shot to shot, was that process difficult for you as someone who's trained in drama school?
No, it wasn't difficult because it was so dropped in. It was so dropped in. It wasn't of the mind. It was dropped down and in. And so in between takes and even during lunch, I was fully in character. It wasn't, I didn't even have to try to, it just happened that way. So I was still in her voice. And also the dress that I wore, I can feel it now. I get chills actually. I felt instantly like it was part of my skin, and I just walked around with no shoes, and I don't think I ever wore shoes. I even walked to work barefoot. I didn't want to put shoes on throughout the whole experience. And so it was easy because I was right inside the heart of her. And she's also, the character is, she's childlike. So she is in the moment. She is fully in her body. She's very physical and tactile, and she's unpredictable. And so when I could find her in my hands and my feet, it was easy to just notice what was around me or hear what was being said to me and just respond to it.
Wow. I mean, I just marvel at what you guys did, because especially how long did you shoot for? This was not a long shoot, was it?
No, it wasn't long at all. I mean, I think it was a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a week. And then the last, we filmed one more scene, which was, I don't want to give it away, but we filmed that in a swimming pool.
Right.
And that was filmed after we left the farm.
Sure.
And so that was one extra day, but I think it was about a week altogether.
Yeah, incredible. And just incredible. Have you when you were growing up, were you a fan of movies? Did you have films that you loved that were touchstones for you, or actors or performances that you loved?
Yeah, I did very, very much so. I mean, I was, I suppose, really inspired by the films of the 90s and the 80s, but what comes to mind is the Kieslowski films, Three Colors, Blue, White, and Red, and then he did a film which is still one of my all-time favorites.
The Double Life of Veronique.
The Double Life of Veronique, yes. So I love that magic realism. It's always been, it's my favorite. That film is a masterpiece, is it not? It's just magnificent.
I'm a huge Kieslowski fan. Also, I don't know if have you seen his movies, The Decalogue?
No, but I actually have it in my, I was looking, I have it, but I've never actually seen it.
You know what? That was kind of me. I had the box set, and I'm like, it was one of those things I looked at, and I'm like, one day. Then that day came, and you will become obsessed. Okay. You will start watching those movies, and you'll be, because they're each individually about the 10 Commandments. Even though they're not biblical, it's set in, in Poland in the modern day when he made them. And it's Kieslowski's amazing. It's funny that you bring him up, because I've been talking with a friend of mine the last couple of weeks about the Three Colors trilogy. So, I love Double It. It's great. Yeah. I love that those are your touchstones. I love movies from the 90s, and you said Three Colors. I'm like, we can get along now.
David Lynch is another, just, I remember, I think Twin Peaks, and then, what did I see as a young girl? It was Wild at Heart. Oh,
yes. One of the great movies to see as a young girl.
Yeah. I absolutely adore that film.
No, it's incredible. Well, so, looking back on this whole experience now, what do you take with you? I mean, I've always been curious. I've always thought, when I first started working in the business, that actors, like, if I like an actor in a movie, and I've met actors who are in movies that I particularly love, and I've been able to speak with them about these films, I always thought when I was younger that these actors must sit in front of their mirrors and just recite their favorite lines from my favorite movies that they were in. I hadn't grasped yet that they made these movies 20 years ago, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that was fun to make that movie. But in my mind, I can recite every line of dialogue of this film, even though it's 25 years ago or whatever. Yeah. Looking back on the experience of making White Devils now, what does it mean to you? What does it mean? I mean, now you're going to see this, but the actual act of doing work long time ago, now it's going to be sort of re-energized. How do you look back on it from your perspective, where your life is today? Is it a distant memory? Is it something you're excited to see again because you're going to see in a way you've never seen it before?
It actually feels not distant at all, because when you were asking me about my process, I felt transported to that set. I mean, I was looking at the table and the candlesticks on the table, and I could feel the dirty farm dress. And a lot of life has happened since then, and hopefully I'm a little wiser. But I've been spending more time in South Africa, where I feel very drawn to being part of film and story in South Africa. So it feels perfectly timed that I'll be seeing it next week, along with everyone else. It also that, we the friendships that were forged during that time are very much current to me still.
Sure.
So there's a feeling of closeness to it all, even though it was, 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, and it comes through. I mean, just you doing this interview, which I thank you for doing. It's nice that that you did this across continents. So this is amazing. And one of the things too that I find interesting about, like, I grew up thinking cinema, I'm a child, I'm a product of the 20th century. And so is cinema. Cinema didn't exist before. The first feature was made in the early 1900s, and it was the combination of all the technology and all of the arts that existed, plays going back thousands of years and acting coming together in the 20th century to create cinema. And I think that we have created, and you guys have created, something that will stand the test of time. And in our culture, as the meaning and the importance of cinema sort of changes, as there's more, everything from video games to virtual reality to user-generated content on TikTok, maybe cinema's a little bit old-fashioned. I'd like to not think so. But I am so proud to be involved in something I think is both important and beautifully executed. How do you feel about cinema today? You've lived in France, which is one of the great... I've always thought of France as sort of, I know it's America and Hollywood, but France is really the capital of cinema. Cahiers du Cinema and Godard and Truffaut, and coming out of being reviewers for that magazine. And the first time I was in Paris, it was 2:00 in the morning, and I went around a corner, and there was a theater showing Casablanca. So I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I love this place. Paris is this is my town. But how do you feel about cinema today? The art form?
I think it's still the most powerful, magical, transporting art form. And yet, stories are... I'm often disappointed by the stories that I'm being told in cinema today. I'm often feel, that could have been great, but that somehow the story wasn't as strong as it could be. And I know that the world is full of extraordinary screenwriters, and you wonder why isn't that person's story being told, But it still remains for me to be a dream in terms of, I think when you're an actor, you're always an actor. When you love film, it's always the greatest magic. I actually never have lived in France, but I just recently been spending a bit of time in France. And I must say, walking around Paris, the cinemas feel really alive there. Like I didn't actually go and watch a film in Paris, but I was really intrigued by the film posters, the film art, the poster art. And of course, French cinema is always so romantic and beautiful to me. But I think there's more to come for cinema. I think there's a revival. I think maybe we've gone through I think it's reflective of where we are as a collective. It's quite fragmented and confusing. And so I think our storytelling is reflecting where we're at as a collective. So I think as we continue to grow, I think there's going to be more to come. Perhaps the best is yet to come, especially since we're doing it in new and innovative ways, and we're not having to subscribe to it's changing. The systems are changing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for speaking with me about White Devils. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for this wonderful chat. I so appreciate it.
I'm Mr. Grove from Pretoria. Is everything all right? People talk, say things.
Hello?
Why didn't you tell me it was out of order? I suppose you think that's funny.
I'm not allowed out the front door.
Who says you weren't?
Them.
Who?
Them.
It was terrible out there. I could hear breathing.
told you.
Are you worried about the man?
They hate us. That's the truth. They want to kill and torture every one of us. You can see it in their eyes.
Come now, Frederick. Do you dream about unholy things?
I really don't like what's going on here. There's something wrong, and that's a fact.
Wait. What did you dream last night? This manifestation of evil. You must be delivered from it.